Hello, my lunatic friend. It's the crypto lunatic from the Luna Cafe, finding hidden gems before they pump. Before they pump. And today I'm going to take you on a little journey of how to find value, real value, not just hype, but actual value to work out where is the money. The Jerry Maguire version. Show me the money. So that's what we're going to do today. And this little crypto in the background, I believe, is massively undervalued. But like anything that I talk about, this is not financial advice. I'm not invested in GMX, not yet anyway. And I'm not paid by the platform to talk about this. So this is a completely neutral review. And with that in mind, join me on a little journey. So first and foremost, this is the CoinMarketCap chain ranking. So when you're looking for value, you want to look for total value locked. This is the amount of money that is invested and tied into a project or a chain. And so when we look here, we can see the market cap and the total value locked. And this figure is the market cap divided by the total value locked. So the smaller this figure, the more value there is in the chain. So you can look through this and see that things like BSC are massively overvalued. But here, look at this, Arbitrum, undervalued. That there's 3.41 billion total value locked within the chain, and it's only valued at 1.95 billion. Now, this, my friends, is how to spot figures, to take away the emotion, to take away everything else, and to just look at facts and figures here that Arbitrum is massively undervalued. And look, I'll go right the way down. You can see things like Bitcoin is very overvalued at the moment. That Gnosis is undervalued slightly, but there's a lot of chains that are massively overvalued. And look at things like Cardano, massively overvalued. Ton, massively overvalued. Algorand, massively overvalued. And Phantom, well, I mean, that's now Sonic, so I'm not going to read too much into that. But you see what we're dealing with here, my friends. These are the facts, these are the figures. And the smaller this number, the more value there is in the chain that you're in. So by all means, have a look through this. But we're going to focus on Arbitrum. So what I did, I went to Arbitrum to DeFi Llama. And I looked here to see the facts and figures. And we see that there's been a big upturn since April, the 11th of April. There's been a lot more value being locked into this chain and a lot going in recently. And then we go to here, show me the money, fees paid. And we see there's been over a million in the last 24 hours. And the lion's share by a country mile goes to GMX. So now we're going to go down and we're going to look at these facts. That GMX here, it's got 513 million total value locked. And we see the 1 day changes up, the 7 day changes up, and the 1 month changes up. Momentum. We're following momentum here. We look at the fees. 345,000 in the last 24 hours. Now, as you can see, and the revenue is 127. That's pure profit. So cumulative revenue, 118 million. So there you go, 118 million cumulative revenue. So GMX is making serious cash, serious cash. And I want you to bear that figure in mind. Cumulative revenue, 118 million. So let's go. Let's go back. We see there. We've seen here what it is. Now, let me just take you on a little journey just to point out what is a good market cap to TVL ratio. You can read through that should you wish. It pretty much tells you what I've already told you, that anything under 1 means undervalued. And I've asked them to analyze GMX crypto and asked them, how is it possible that there's 513 million total value logged and a market cap of 147 million? And here you go. It pretty much points out that this is undervalued. Undervalued, my lunatic friend. By all means, pause this and read through it should you wish to. There's the simple investment case for kids. So there you have it. So with that in mind, let's go and have a look at GMX. We see the market cap of 147 million, which is roughly what it's making at the moment. It's making good money. But here's what we like. Look at this. The circulating supply is quite high. Now, I believe that this figure is not correct. I believe it's even better than this because we see that the fully diluted value, according to this, is 191. So, but let's go down. Let's go down and let's have a little look. We see it's on Binance. This is big news. Now, we don't see it on Coinbase, which means there's potential for a listing here, which would pump the price. And look, the unlock progress tells us a different story, that 97% of the tokens are unlocked. And look, we're at the end, coming near the end of the unlock schedule, which means all of this price suppression that we see over here has now been priced in. And look, it's now at a nice little suppressed entry point. And this thing has been as high as here, look, $86. And that was back in 2023. But we also see, if we go back to here, that's only in March 2024, $58. And here, it was in $37 back in December. So as we look down, good on the tokenomics, and we've seen what GMX is. So the next thing is we go to Nansen, and Nansen wants to verify me before we proceed. So while it's doing that, well, it's actually done that. Look, we see 1 million of liquidity, which is reasonable. And this says 4,199 holders. Now, again, we need to check information from multiple sources, because when we go onto Arbitrum scan, it tells us that there's 303,000 holders. Now, we also see a high concentration here. Now, based on the fact that there's a lot of money locked in here, that would make sense that this would be the smart contract platform, and that was where the money is actually locked into. So we're not overly concerned about that. Normally we would be, but this is an exchange. So we go to their X account. We see a healthy amount of followers. We also see that it's on-chain perpetual spot exchange. Now this means, because it's the exchange on Arbitrum, that this wins whether the price goes up or down. And not only that, it allows people to make a leverage trades, and a lot of people lose a lot of money on leverage. So it's a high-risk platform for traders and degens to trade that makes money regardless what happens to the trade. So we see a fairly active account here 22 hours ago. And we're seeing, yes, look, more 22 hours ago, August the 6th. So that's 2 days ago. And we're seeing reasonable engagement on that. So we move on. We look at the actual website, and it tells us the total trading volume. And that's into the billions. Open interest, there's 249 million worth of open interest, and there's 717,000 users, which means that this thing has massive utility and a lot of people using it. We go on to crypto rank, and what we see here is, now this is where the discrepancy is with crypto coin market cap. Remember how it said that the only 77% of the tokens, well, it's saying the same there. So there's not that discrepancy. Like the fully diluted value is 147 million based on what's there, but it's telling us that there's still 23% tokens to come back somewhere. But here we're seeing that the early stage investors have already made profit, but this thing is highly profitable. And we also see that the all-time high was 10,000%, and they're only down to 1,500% on their investment at the moment. So this is a profitable, it's a very profitable crypto. So with all of that in mind, we can see that GMX is making money. It's a trading platform, so it makes money whether the price is going up or down, and it allows people to use leverage. Now, I personally don't recommend anyone using leverage, especially if you're new to crypto. But for those degens that fancy their chances, there is a place for them to do it on Arbitrum. And Arbitrum looks to be the most undervalued blockchain at the moment, according to the total value locked versus the market cap. And GMX is cleaning up on Arbitrum. So there you have it, my lunatic friends, how to find undervalued cryptos, of which GMX is clearly undervalued. And I'm not going to make a price prediction, but I think that you can see that this is going to be profit. It's already profitable, but that's not priced into the market just yet on this price. So I would suggest that it's worth looking at. Do your own research, not investment advice. Blah, 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 blah. You know the score, my lunatic friends. You go in and do your own research. I'm just here to point you in the direction of things that may be undervalued. And GMX looks like it's definitely undervalued. And with all of that in mind, if you've enjoyed this update and you want more of these hidden gems, these undervalued updates, then please do subscribe to the channel. There's another little update there. And beyond that, stay lunatic, have fun, and make money with crypto.